All right, what is going? What's happening? How's everybody doing today? My name is Chuck, and welcome back to a brand new video. So today here, we're gonna be going through my top 5 most overpowered guns and class setups here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I've basically gone through, adjusted a few things on my setups like I did in my M4 video, and I've just compiled a whole bunch of really awesome stuff for you guys here within today's video. But before we get into anything else, if you guys could do me a favor and smash 220 likes on today's video. We smashed well over 250 yesterday when I only asked for 200. So you guys can do that. That would be amazing. Also, make sure you guys go down below and hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. But with that being said, let's jump into this. All right, so I think ideally one of the first guns we should actually be able to take a look at here is actually going to be the MP5. And in my opinion, the MP5 is indeed the top tier, the best SMG in all of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It just really is genuinely that good, and I really love using the gun. I mean, I think it happens to be, you know, my favorite because it's so good. It's got so much versatility, and it happens to be very good for multiplayer and for Warzone, basically no matter which class setup you make with it. But don't worry, I'll show you guys the top tier setup for it so you guys can go through and make your class setup however you want it, but I'll give you guys my top class setup for it as well. I'm also pretty sure a lot of you guys out there feel the same as me, is that the MP5 has got great range, it's got great recoil control, great stability. I mean, it's just overall a fantastic weapon. But with that being said, let's actually show you guys how to create this class. All right, so jump in here on the MP5. We actually are going to go right into the barrel section, and we are not going to waste any time with this. Obviously, you guys know that because we are skipping the muzzle category and going straight into the barrel section, we're going to be doing something with an integral-like suppressor. And so we have the two options, the monolithic integral and the subsonic integral suppressor. But honestly, this one actually right here, the subsonic, actually makes us lose a bunch of our range. It's really not that good. The only benefit to it, obviously, is that, you know, there's, you know, your sound suppression, your no visible tracers, ADS speed, no enemy skulls, but we're not really worried about, you know, a lot of that stuff. Basically, what we want is we want some good range out of it and everything like that. And so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to hit that monolithic integral suppressor because this gives us our sound suppression and our bullet velocity. So it increases our range, decreases our mobility just ever so slightly, but also very minutely increases our accuracy, which is definitely really good. Now for our second attachment, we're down here in the underbarrel section, and there's a variety of different, you know, underbarrels what we can do: commando, merc, ranger, tactical, and then the operator. I mean, I've used basically all of these beforehand. I mean, besides maybe the tactical and the operator, because I think they're basically useless, but you know, the ranger, the merc, and the commando, I've used all of these here, and I thought, you know, the ranger was a vibe, the merc was a vibe, the commando was as well. But honestly, for this build, we're going to be hitting with that merc foregrip just because it gives us that recoil control we want and that hipfire accuracy that we desperately want as well, because the MP5 is a very much so like get in your face, you know, take people out type of gun, and having a better hipfire accuracy is definitely good for it. So attachment number 2. Now we're in here to the ammunition category, and honestly, you can see we have a variety of different things here. Well, it's basically just 2 things for variety, but we have, you know, your 45 round mag, and then we have your 10mm 30 round magazine. And honestly, guys, keeping it stacked with you, what you're going to want to go ahead and do is use the 45 round magazine, just because I think it definitely outweighs having those extra 15 rounds in the magazine versus, you know, the benefits you get of the damage and range with the 10mm 30 round magazine. I used to like running this, but I figured out that eventually just that the 45 round was just so much better, and I was like, okay, I'm never going to be touching that 30 round again. I've tried it a couple of times, but I was just like, man, it is not it. So just run the 45 round. You're really going to like it. Next up in here, we're in that rear grip section, and so we have the options of the rubberized, the granulated, and the stippled. And honestly, we have a couple of different things, or a couple, you know, options in here that are definitely really good. So our rubberized would be our option that is actually really good. I do like rubberized if I'm maybe not running a grip or something, but because we are running a grip, we're not going to be using the rubberized. You can see the granulated, which gives us your aiming stability and aim walking steadiness. We don't necessarily need that because, you know, this isn't an AR. We're not trying to pick people off across the map. This is not what this build is designed for. And then so we have, lastly, we have the stippled grip tape, which gives you your ADS speed, your sprint to fire speed, which is definitely really solid. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this on here, as this is gonna be my choice, my preference on a rear grip is to give you more ADS speed, more sprint to fire speed, because we're running around getting in people's faces, and this is what we want. And for our last attachment here on this MP5, what we're gonna go ahead and do is go into the stock category. So you can see with the 4 options: the forged tack, the classic straight line, the FS has close quarters, and the F-tack collapsible. And honestly, you can see this, you know, aim walking movement speed, we don't need that. Aiming stability, we don't just only need that. You know, your aim down sight speed, that's definitely really good, but there's definitely one that gives us more benefits, which is going to be the F-tack collapsible, which gives you your plus in your movement speed and a plus in your aim down sight speed. Of course, it negatively affects your aiming stability and recoil control, but don't worry, that's completely fine. This gun is absolutely amazing. If we throw these attachments on here, I love running this as a primary and also as a secondary in Warzone. It's really, really good. You guys should definitely go ahead and try this out. All right, next up here on our top 5 guns is actually going to be the Kilo 141. And to be honest, you guys, I absolutely love using the Kilo. Doesn't matter if it's in multiplayer, doesn't matter if it's in Warzone. The Kilo is absolutely amazing, and you guys are going to love using this gun. I think it's got basically one of the most consistent, time to kills. The recoil is incredibly easy to manage, whether you have a grip on it or not. I mean, you have a no stock or no grip or whatever it is. I mean, the Kilo is just very consistent, and if you're a player that has a tougher time controlling recoil on your guns, this will definitely be something that's very good to you. I mean, I love using this gun. As you can see by the gameplay, I'm absolutely dominating with it. It's got a very solid time to kill. It's not too long. It's not too short. I mean, it's also got a very good damage drop off. So, I mean, you really genuinely can't go wrong when you throw this on your class. Like, seriously, you really can't go wrong. So, jumping right in here to the muzzle category, we basically want to add on a suppressor of some sort, and we're going to neglect anything that is not a suppressor. And I always say basically even neglect the lightweight suppressor because it reduces your damage range. So honestly, what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna throw on the monolithic suppressor, but if you do not happen to have the monolithic, throw on the tactical because that is a much earlier level unlock. So throw on the tactical if you don't have the monolithic, but if you do have the monolithic, throw that on there. That'll be a great first attachment. Next up here, we are in the barrel section, and we have a few different options in here. So we have the Singuard Arms 16.6 and 19.8 Prowler. Then we have also the Singuard Arms Whisperer barrel, and granted, this is basically your integrated monolithic suppressor, which is definitely not bad. It does increase your range just ever so slightly, and this actually does decrease your accuracy ever so slightly and also boost your control ever so slightly. But honestly, what we need out of this gun is not integrated suppressor. We need a little bit more damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. That's basically what this barrel gives us, which is the trifecta of stuff that I like, but it doesn't give us as much as I would like. So that's why we're going to go ahead and go with the 19.8 Prowler, which is going to give us a massive boost to our accuracy, our range, a little bit on our mobility, a little bit negative there, and a good boost to our control, which is fantastic. So that is going to be our second attachment. Now we're going to be going down here to the ammunition category, as this is a gun that definitely does need another magazine on it. I basically think every single gun needs a different magazine. So we have, the 50 round magazine, the 60 round, and then of course, the 100 round. I'm not going to say to go with the 100 round because I don't believe the 100 round is as good as it possibly could be. I think it, takes too much mobility away, too much control away. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go for the 60 round magazine. I love the 60. It's fantastic. I'm a 60 round magazine kind of guy, like I say all the time. And yeah, just throw the 60 on there. It is, amazing, but you can definitely run the 50 if you really want to. So we're throwing the 60 on here though. Next up in here, I want to go to the optics section because I actually wanted to shake this build up here a little bit. While the Kilo iron sights are definitely really good, this is going to be a very interesting way to make the Kilo a little bit different. So what I actually want to go ahead and do is I'm looking just basically to throw on the GI mini reflex just to kind of give myself a little bit more precision when I'm aiming. There's nothing wrong with the Kilo iron sights. Granted, you could definitely swap, this attachment out for something else of your choice, but for me personally, I was just throwing this class together and I was like, man, you know what, this is actually kind of gas. Like, I really like this. So we're gonna go ahead and throw on the GI mini reflex. This is actually really good. Wait till you see this last attachment though. So now we have our other 4 attachments. We're actually going in here to the stock category, and we're gonna make this gun a lot more mobile. So we have, the Forge Tac Ultralight, the Singuard Arms Sniper Pro, the no stock, and of course the FSS close quarter stock. And basically what we want is, just to make it more mobile to the, ultimate, the max potential, aka that means we're gonna go down here to the no stock attachment, and that's gonna be our attachment here for this, because boost in movement speed, boost in ADS speed, of course a little bit less on the aiming stability and recoil control, but don't worry, I mean, this gun basically moves hardly anywhere to begin with. So this is an amazing class right here on the Kilo. Very aggressive, you can rush around with this. I love the Kilo 141. It's really fun to use, really good. And with that being said, let's move on to our next gun. So next up here on this list is actually going to be one of my personal favorite guns as of recent, which is actually going to be the PP19 Bison. And the Bison, for whatever reason, it seems to technically have a bit of a slower time to kill, but no matter any time I ever use it, it always seems to absolutely delete people. I never run into any issues with it, and I have a very high kill death ratio with the gun, and I just love the way it actually sits. I like the attachments I got on it. It's super easy to control, and I mean, you can just delete people. And plus, Plus, it has that extra large magazine off rip. I think it's like 54 rounds. So you don't even necessarily even need to run an extended clip on this gun for it to basically already give you an extended clip. It's like one of those guns that has a built-in attachment already to it. By having that nice little drum magazine on the bottom, or whatever you want to call it, that cylinder down there, it gives you a lot of ammunition, and it gives you a lot of mobility. So it's very, very good for running around in close quarters engagements. That's why you see me actually using this on shipment. This is one of my favorite guns to use on shipment, basically, of all time. I love running this gun. With that being said, let's actually show you guys the class setup, because, man, this thing absolutely dominates. All right, so jumping into this here, now we're going to first go into the muzzle category, and what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go straight for a suppressor attachment. And like I said in my previous build here with the Kilo, if you don't have, you know, the monolithic suppressor down below, you're going to want to go with the tactical suppressor, as this is a very early level unlock. But basically, stay away from the lightweight suppressor and basically the rest of this random shenanigans in here. You're just going to go with the monolithic suppressor, as this is going to be your best option here for your Bison. Now with the barrel, we can actually kind of, you know, move around here a little bit. So we have, you know, the 8.7 steel, the 8.7 polygonal, and then the 8.7 aluminum, or aluminum, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, you can see these give us, you know, a couple of different things here. Your ADS speed, this gives us your bullet velocity and your damage range, and of course this one up top here gives us your the trifecta, as I always like to call it, you know, damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. So aka we're gonna be going with this this barrel on here. It just gives you the most amount of benefits, and I absolutely love that. So this is gonna be attachment number 2. Now we are in here in the laser section, the tac laser section, whatever you want to call it. So we have the tac laser, the 1 milliwatt laser, and the 5 milliwatt laser, and these give you obviously a variety of different things. This gives you a good amount of, you know, benefits right here: ADS speed, aiming stability, aim walking, steadiness. But this gun really doesn't move around too much, to be honest with you. It doesn't bump around, so we don't need that. But we have the 1 MW laser, which does help with your hip fire accuracy and has no cons whatsoever. So it's definitely not a bad attachment by any means. But we also have down here, which is the 5 milliwatt laser, which gives you your hip fire accuracy and your sprint to fire speed, which is basically the 2 things we really want out of this gun, because you're going to be getting up in people's faces with that 54 round magazine. I mean, you don't necessarily need to have, you know, that con of the laser visible to enemies just to worry about. Like, it doesn't even matter if they see it, because you're going to be killing them by the time they see it. So I mean, we have that sprint to fire speed, going to make you an absolute animal. The hip fire accuracy going to make you a, you know, a beast. So this is going to be our attachment. Now we are going to be down here in the rear grip category. We have the granulated, the stapled, and then the rubberized, or the stippled, whatever you want to call it. AKA, you know, we have a need down here, and that's going to be more mobility, more just, you know, fastness, quickness with this gun. And so we're going to skip over everything else here and just go straight for the stippled grip tape, ADS speed, sprint to fire speed. You're just making this gun faster by the minute here, and very, very good option. Very good option. And honestly, the last thing we need out of this gun, out of this build, is honestly just sleight of hand. I mean, I just want to be able to get in there. I want to be able to take people out super quick and then reload super quick, just because, you know, that ADS speed is just fantastic already, and everything is just great. But I mean, that reload time is not as good as it possibly can be. So we're throwing sleight of hand here, and this is going to be my top tier Bison class setup. I love this thing. I mean, I've dominated so much with it, and you guys even saw by the gameplay that, I mean, this thing just is an absolute beast. So that being said, let's move on to our next gun. Now we're going to be moving here on to everybody's favorite assault rifle in the game, which is going to be the M4A1. Undoubtedly the most consistent gun that has actually ever been in this game. Maybe besides the Grau 5.56. I mean, even previous to the nerf and even after the nerf. I mean, this gun right here is absolutely incredible. And I mean, I love running this as my setup in this game. I love running this gun in the game. I think this is definitely the gun I have the most kills with in Modern Warfare by far, just because, I mean, it's one of the more easily level unlocked assault rifles, and of course the attachments on it can just make it one of the best assault rifles in the game. And I do believe even in Warzone it has one of the top time to kills, so that is definitely really, really amazing. And I like that. I like that this gun is good in both multiplayer and in Warzone, so I don't have to use 2 separate type of guns just because one functions better in the other type of mode. And I can use this basically wherever, in whatever situation. It's just all around very versatile, and I'm going to give you guys a very awesome setup for it that you guys are going to absolutely love. So we're not going to waste too much time on this one here. Is that this one you guys probably even seen maybe yesterday on my channel, this muzzle attachment. We're going to go straight down here for the monolithic suppressor, as this is a very good option to be able to run the M4. Like I always say, don't ever use the lightweight suppressor or any of these other things that aren't suppressors. Use the tactical or the monolithic. It can be personal preference, but I always say monolithic if you have it unlocked. This is kind of how it is. Now with our barrel, there's a few different options in here. Basically, we're going to eliminate the commando, the tac light, and the predator barrel. They're basically just not needed. What we're going to be going between is the Corvus Custom Marksman and the stock M16 Grenadier barrel. If you're playing Warzone, the stock M16 is going to be your best bet, but if you're playing multiplayer, the Corvus Custom Marksman is going to be the barrel of your choice. I like using the Corvus Custom Marksman. I think it is a very solid barrel, and I've been really deleting people with it. I mean, it's definitely really solid, so if I was you guys, throw this on there as your second attachment. For our under barrel section here, I normally end up running the Commando foregrip, but just because we're making this more of an agile type setup, we're going to need a little bit more recoil control because we're going to be sacrificing a little bit of that aiming stability and that recoil control. So we're going to go ahead and do is the three, under barrels that I really count as viable is the Commando, then you have the Merc section, and then you also have the Ranger foregrip. And honestly, those three are going to be the only three I'll ever choose from. And so I'm going to go down here and just give me the most amount of recoil control possible, which is going to be the Ranger foregrip. I mean, recoil control, aiming stability, it's what you like to see here, and the Ranger foregrip is really good. Also, a very good grip to use in Warzone. Just gonna put that out there. Now, in the ammunition category, we have a variety of options here. Basically, don't ever use the Para 32 round mag or the 4.458 SOCOM 10 round. It's not very good. Seriously, don't ever use those two. We just have, 15, 60 round mag, and you guys, I think you should know by now what type of guy I am. 60 round magazine, that's what we're going with. Very good option. And last but definitely not least, we're in the stock category, and we want the most mobility possible for our M4A1. And so as a result of that, we're going to bypass basically three of these, aka the M16 stock, the Singard arms, and the Forge Tac CQS, and go straight for that no stock attachment, aka giving us the top movement speed and the top ADS speed we can possibly get out of this attachment category. And this is going to be an amazing M4A1 setup. I mean, seriously, you guys are going to love this. If you haven't used this from my previous video, definitely go ahead, try this out. You're gonna like it. And now diving into the final, definitely not the, it's the last, but definitely not the least best gun out of the top 5 right here. These are basically been in no particular order, but the Grau 5.56, and I'm just gonna put this out there that this is a gun that I've loved using from the minute it got introduced into the game. It's been an absolute banger of a weapon, one of the most consistent, and was definitely probably one of the most overpowered guns in Warzone at a point in time. And it's definitely still really good in Warzone, but it's, not nearly as good as it used to be. They messed with the recoil and stuff in that, and kind of balanced it out just a little bit, but it's still incredibly good, and I see a lot of people still using it. But anyways, this gun is amazing. It's got a really good damage drop-off profile. The recoil is incredibly easy to control, and honestly, you can make this gun very, very mobile without really sacrificing much in terms of your controllability, and that's the reason I really genuinely like it. I like guns that I can make very mobile and not sacrifice control, and that's one of the things that is very good about this gun, is that you can do that. So that being said, let's show you guys the class. Jumping in here like we have always is that we're going to go straight down here for the monolithic suppressor. We're just going to bypass all the other stuff. I'm not going to repeat myself too much more here, but the monolithic suppressor is going to be our first attachment. We're actually going to go straight in here to our barrel section, and we have a couple of things in here which we can really go with. If you're going to be playing some Warzone, the Tempest 26.4 Archangel is going to be 100% your best barrel you're ever going to use in Warzone on this gun. I'm just putting it out there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But for multiplayer, what we're actually doing is using the FSS 20.8 Nexus barrel, and that's just because I want just a little bit, I still want that, that trifecta of damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, but I also don't want to have as much of that penalty for the aim down sight speed and that movement speed, and so I think this barrel is absolutely incredible. You guys should run this. Next, we're down here in the underbarrel section, and honestly, I don't really have to get too much in detail with it. Honestly, I mean, they got the, a special one for this gun, the Cronin Shark 2, but I mean, I'm not ever going to use that. I'm just going to go straight up here, keep it simple, keep it easy, use the Commando foregrip. It's a very good attachment. Works on basically any single gun in this game, and yeah, throw the Commando on here. As far as your ammunition goes, we have two options here. It comes with 30 rounds stock, but we're actually going to boost this up here to 50 or 60 rounds. I mean, it's more or less just your personal preference at this point. You guys know, like what I always say, 60 rounds is my type of thing, so we're going to go ahead and throw on the 60 round magazine, as this is the most beneficial magazine in my opinion. For our last attachment, we're going in here to the stock category, and we are going to be messing with this here a little bit because we want the most mobility possible. And so as a result of that, the FSS Blackjack does not give us that mobility. The XRK Strike Light 3 does give us some aim-locking movement speed, but the no stock attachment gives us movement speed and ADS speed, two things we really want. And of course, it gives us a little less, aiming stability, recoil control, but that's completely okay. We're going to choose that. This is going to be my Grau 5.56 class setup. You guys need to try this out. I was deleting with it. It's very, very good. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys here in today's video. If you guys happen to have enjoyed it, make sure you guys slap a like on it, subscribe, those notifications turn on. Make sure you guys comment down in the comment section below. And also go check out any of these other videos here up on screen as I put a lot of time and effort into them. It'd be greatly appreciated. But with that being said, I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow with yet another brand new video. Just remember, don't triple cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.